Good afternoon, my Teaserking family. How's everybody this afternoon? Yes, I did a baseball sports one in the morning, and now this will be economic. Um, Hope everybody's well. Let's check out. Let's check out our gold price. It dropped a little bit, came back. And it's at 25.05. We got a little bit of it just before we ended the show to 24.98. And then it's back 25.05. So we're going in this very tight range the last few days. And we'll see what happens. I don't look at it. We're down 19. That doesn't mean anything. We're over 2,500, and silver's getting killed at 29.17. But that's what you expect. Still in the derivative world, they're not really going to break over 30 until, well, it'll be a little bit, but we're not there yet. So silver's just buy. Gold's 25.05. So let's see where gold's at the end of the show, but so far so good. So I got brics up there. Brics to launch October 22nd. Gold backed currency. I'm not expecting it to be, digital. I'm expecting digital payments between countries for like oil and gas and goods, but people should have the dollars like they have in Zimbabwe and the other countries. Hey, Pat. Well, the inverted yield curve has been there for over a year. I mean, we are in a recession, but they don't want to talk about it. So you don't know you're in one if they haven't said it. Meanwhile, a lot of layoffs and a lot of companies probably not doing good earnings. They're keeping the stock market up only for the election. By printing money, it's certainly not there, but we've been in a recession for a while. When you raise interest rates, you slow the economy automatically because things cost more. We don't get the cost. We don't get the benefit. It's just it just print money to go into the stock. So yeah, we're in a recession. What it shows is a recession. People would rather be in 2-year bonds instead of 10-year bonds because they get a better reward. And why is that? Because people don't trust the 10-year. There's no demand 10-year. They'll come in for 2. But that's bullshit anyway. That's what it signifies, a recession. The yield curve is uninverted right now. It's 100% signal for big trouble. No, it's inverted. If short-term rates are higher than long-term rates, it's inverted. So I don't have the exact. I'm not looking at the yield curve right now, but I know it's been like much higher for 2 years than 10, and I don't think that changed. What are you getting for 2-year and 10-year? Well, we don't need the yield curve to tell us there's big trouble. We have massive inflation, massive unemployment. So we already know this. That's a sign you could use, but if you don't understand anything. I don't really care. Gold doesn't care. Well, why'd you bring it up if you don't care? I mean, I don't talk about yield curves because it's all bullshit. We know the money's collapsing, so I don't really care. I know we're in a recession. And like you said, it's all about the gold. Perhaps there will be a bigger discount. You're getting a huge discount because the price isn't anywhere close to reality. So the reality is gold's probably 20,000 an ounce, but you can get it for 2,500, 2,600. So, I mean, that's all I think about is gold's so undervalued compared to physical, and they keep marketing in paper. But then I see this whole thing of brics gold back currency that'll end it, and then COMEX. The U.S. can't pay. The U.S. didn't do their derivative yesterday or today that really knocked it down $50-$60. It was a little $10 hit, and it happened at 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. It wasn't even the U.S., it was London. But again, what's the point? Yeah, we're going to sell our gold because it was knocked down in a derivative. I only care because something big is around the corner. Well, yeah, it's called the collapse of all the fiat currencies and the revaluation of gold to the moon. So we know that's happening. A lot of countries will just have to come out with USD 2 and Euro 2 and all these twos, which will be just as worthless as the ones because they're not backed by gold. So we know that. So it'll be October 22nd, but there's all these other countries that want to join BRICS. So right now they're 10, they're 12 more. There'll be 22 in October, on its way to 159. And it's basically South America, Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. All the countries that the U.S. has been corrupting and stealing from. We're taking all their gold from Africa and everything else. So anyway, silver will go really high very soon again, but it's a little different derivative than gold. All we can do is wait for it. Let's see. I don't get it. I saved some videos, but I don't know where they went to.
So why doesn't every home in the U.S. have brand new floors? The number one reason is not about...
Over the past month, BRICS has seen substantial developments that underscore its growing influence on the global stage, from financial banking system to group expansion. As of August 2024, around 40 to 47 countries from various regions, including Africa, Asia, and South America, have expressed their desire to join BRICS. This interest is fueled largely by the bloc's potential to challenge the current global economic order, which is heavily dominated by Western institutions like the IMF and World Bank. Many of these nations are seeking to diversify away from reliance on the US dollar, as they perceive this dependency to pose significant...
Yeah, we already know all that. They keep saying the same things over and over. Here's some
plane with price tags.
All right, let's watch Thomas Sowell. He makes a good point. I love the advertising. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Some years ago, when I taught at Brandeis, I traveled from California to Massachusetts and discovered that my auto insurance rates had doubled.
Hey,
and since Los Angeles is not a small village or something, you wonder, why does that happen?
We don't want to listen to that one. We listened to that one yesterday.
Jobs plane with price tags. For the government to make some things more affordable is to make other things less affordable, and to destroy people's freedom to make their own trade-offs as they see fit in the...
So I watched one today. Where the hell did it go? Unless I'm not liking it, but... Let's see. Might be this one.
If you believe that new plants and factories can dot our landscape, that new energy can power our future, that new schools can provide ladders of opportunity to this nation of dreamers, if you believe in a country where everyone gets a fair shot and everyone does their fair share and everyone plays by the same rules, then I need
Socialism.
you to vote this November.
All right. New plants and factories, new energy, new schools, and a fair shot. What's wrong with that?
I wonder if the fair shot includes the taxpayers. But we've had factories before there was Barack Obama. Hard as that is to believe, and we've had less of it since he came in.
Okay, Tom. So let me ask this question, which is politically incorrect, which makes it all the more important to ask. Some component of the voting public voted for him last time around as an act of national expiation because they felt, and I frankly, I could feel it myself. We were all proud, even those of us who supported the opponent, we all felt proud the following day that the United States of America, the Constitution takes slavery into account, the Civil War, but finally we have a black man as president of the United States. All right, that's perfectly understandable. We know that took place. 4 years later, what about the argument that it is so important for him to get this right, so important as a continuation of this national act of expiation and healing and so forth, that in some way it's only right to give him, frankly, more slack than you might...
Affirmative action for president.
Well, there you go. I suppose that's what it amounts to. I guess you don't buy that one.
Well, when you realize that the president of the United States has the lives of 300 million people in his hands, he has the future of Western civilization in his hands. He has the freedom that's been inherited over the centuries in his hands, and he's already starting to dismantle that. I really don't think this is a question of
any individual, whoever's in the White House, being cut any slack. The last thing you need to do is cut slack to people who have power over 300 million other people.
Folks, something big is about to happen to this nation. This has nothing to do with wearing silly masks.
Tom Sowell this past summer, quote, "The America that has flourished for more than 2 centuries is being quietly but steadily dismantled by the Obama administration," close quote. Now, you note the way the Obama administration has used executive orders to waive provisions in the No Child Left Behind Act and to repeal, your word, the legal requirement that welfare recipients must work. He's the president, Tom. Doesn't he get to make adjustments in this law or that law?
Well, he didn't. The oath that he took of office was that he would faithfully execute the laws. Now, I don't think they meant execute in the same way that the mafia means it.
Thomas Sowell on Obamacare, quote, "Obamacare imposes huge costs on some institutions, while the president's waivers exempt other institutions from having to pay those same costs. The law says you've got to do this, and over here we have the Secretary of Health and Human Services granting a waiver to this person or that entity, or this waiver is taking place over here." Well, it's legal. Nobody seems to have sued them for that.
One of the great problems is that people do not react. I mean, when all is said and done, the Constitution of the United States is a set of words on pieces of paper. The only way that the Constitution can protect us is if we protect the Constitution. If we rise up and revolt, if we vote out of office people who violate the Constitution, then, of course, it will mean something. If people can do this, say a few pretty words, and we say, oh, well, then the Constitution will, over time, erode to the point where it will mean absolutely nothing. There'll be nice words on paper, but people with power will just do what they feel like.
What about those 9 people in black robes who sit on the bench across the street from the United States Capitol? Isn't it the job of the Supreme Court of the United States to defend the Constitution?
It is, but they alone can't do it. And more importantly, if Obama gets reelected, he's probably going to have 1 or maybe 2 more members to appoint. And from that point on, it will just be a rubber stamp for whatever he chooses to do.
To the economy, Tom Sowell, quote, "We are not yet Greece, but we are not exempt from the rules of arithmetic that caught up with Greece. We have just a little more time," close quote. So what's going to go wrong? Let's assume Barack Obama, for the moment, let's assume Barack Obama wins re-election. What bad things happen?
For one thing, we start running out of money. And that's the problem of Greece. See, the secret of the welfare state is you can do almost anything in the short run, juggling money from here to there and so on. But in the long run, the arithmetic can't be ignored. And in the long run, you're going to run out of money, which is what's happened in Greece, which is starting to happen in Spain, and which can happen in the United States.
So you're an optimist. That is to say, the welfare state, against which you have devoted enormous professional energies over these several decades now, is about to come to an end, one way or the other.
That's right, but it makes a difference how it comes to an end.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying. What feels to? I mean, look, we have 8 point something or other percent unemployment. As a matter of fact, if the same number of people were still in the workforce as were when President Obama took office, the unemployment rate would be 11%. The economy is really bad.
Yeah.
But by historical standards, it's still a wealthy country.
Yes.
People can get by. Journalists are already defining this state of affairs as the new normal. So really, 4 more years of Barack Obama does what to us? We can skate by, Tom.
The question is, how long can you skate? Greece discovered that there does come a point where there is no more money. In Spain, people are already leaving Spain in droves and taking their money out of the Spanish banks with them. One of the things that you can do in the long run, and be forced to do, is simply print more money. And as they print more money, that is simply a hidden form of taxation. I mean, when the Federal Reserve creates money to buy government bonds and keeps the interest rate low in order to make the price of the debt service low, What that means is that if you have your money put aside in the bank, and you're getting 1%, and the inflation rate is 3%, that means they're taking 2% of your savings every single year, and you know how compound interest is. Right. And even under the current conditions, and $100 bill in 1998 would not buy as much as a $20 bill would have bought in 1960. So the thievery that goes on through inflation is huge. The Republicans, I think, have the notion that because so many people are unemployed and on food stamps, that is a negative for Obama. Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected in a landslide.
Okay, so that brings us to our point. Running out of money, inflation. I don't really see it as a tax. I just see it as your money loses value. So what do you say? $100 bill would have bought you what? $20 bought you in 1960, in 1991 or whatever, wherever they were. Which is my whole dollar philosophy. So this is why this is ripped, because this is only worth a penny right now. Is that inflation? I don't think it's inflation. Well, I don't think it's taxing. They never look at it as it's tax. It's just they're stealing our money. The people in charge of the printing press are making it worthless, but they're doing it for everybody. It's not like the rich don't get hurt by it. The dollars lose value. It hurts the rich, the poor, middle class, upper class, caste system, whatever you want to call it. This is the problem with the system that JP Morgan has a monopoly on. So therefore, it's not really a tax because we're not paying anybody anything. We're just losing value of our dollars because some idiot's in charge of a printing press and there's apparently nobody to say, hey, stop printing it. So we're running out of money now. How are we running out of money? They can print more money. Yes, but the money's worthless. That's the problem. The more you print of it, the less it's worth. He just said it. And I say it all the time. Sometimes I just show you an example of somebody else saying what I'm saying. So I was thinking about these lifeguards, my one friend, she works a lot. She wasn't there today. She must be back in school. And I'm thinking, well, she works a lot. She makes money. What do you do with it? Here's the problem. So I'm working. You're working. We're all working. We make money, and we try to make more than our bills. So, we make $5,000 a month. We have $4,000 in bills. We keep $1,000. Now, if you put it in the bank, which is that's what the kids probably do. They put the money in the bank, trying to grow the account. Oh, now I got 1,000 in the account. Now I got 5,000 in the account. So they're trying to grow the account. Okay. But they're doing it in the wrong currency. They're doing it in fiat. You don't want to own a lot of depreciated assets. You want to own a lot of assets that will go up in value. What's the point of owning a lot of dollars? What's the point of having a bank account at Wells Fargo and I put, now it's up to 10 grand. What did you do? Now what do you do? Watch your 10 grand go back to 1 grand because it's inflated? And here's where the rub comes. They don't teach this in school. She's in, this girl happens to be in like high school. And she's in high school. She doesn't know, she's not taught it. So as she grows up, she's saving her money, her fiat depreciable money. It's a waste of time. If that's what you're going to do with your money to work, okay, you're working to pay your bills is fine, but the excess money, you can't leave it in dollars, you can't leave it in the bank. But they don't know any better because they're not getting taught Austrian economics. So what the girl needs to do is just go buy silver and gold with it. There's no point of having 10,000 in your bank account because it's not going to hold its value. They print more than you get. So every year there's inflation and we can't judge the rate of it. So she's basically screwing herself without realizing she's screwing herself. She doesn't know. She doesn't have a clue. And yet that's the problem. So had she been buying gold and silver with her money that she's making as a lifeguard, it would grow in value. And then she'd really be saving money. But the crazy idiots here, what do they want? No. You put your money in the bank, we'll give you a CD at 3%, or, buy some stock, buy some Apple stock. You can buy 5 shares of it. That's what they want you to do. So the government works against you making money. It's unbelievable. Would you fall asleep, Pat, or are you still there? So that's the problem, and it's all over the world. So all these people are working. They work hard. Cab drivers, people at restaurants, people at grocery stores. Okay, Pat, just making sure. So this is the problem, and it happens in Singapore as well as every other country. Look at China. I keep showing you China, and everybody's freaking out there. They can't find work. They can't take the money out of the bank. So what do the people in China do? So some people have like 700,000 yuan, which is like $100,000 in the bank. The bank won't let them have it, which is the government. And so they saved it all, but can't use it. And then the government's going to steal it from them anyway. This is why you can't trust the governments. The governments don't have your best interest in it, but you got to understand that from the beginning. So if I was 18 again and making money, I worked at the grocery store when I was 16. I would have immediately, had I met myself now, had I gone back to the future and met the professor as a young lad, I would have done what Biff did with the Gray Sports Almanac. Only I would have said, look, idiot, buy silver and gold now. Much as you can buy. This is in the 70s. Go buy it. Don't even save any money. You don't need to save it. Just buy the gold. And the money will be worthless and the gold will go, at that point, I probably could have paid $40, $50 an ounce for gold. And I probably was making enough, to afford a few ounces here and there. And at the end of the day, so even if I have 100 grand in the bank or 200 grand in the bank, now it's worthless. But had it been in gold and silver, it would be through the moon. And that's where this is where everybody gets screwed. They go to work and they put their money. I would imagine she's putting her money in the bank into her little savings account, and all excited she's got $500 or $1,000 in the account. And then she doesn't realize it's not worth anything. And it's going out anyway. So again, you have choice. You could put it in a bank or buy gold and put it, go buy a safe, put it in your house, and you're fine. Because she's going to get interest expense and she's going to owe that on her tax return. What do you mean? I saved the money and now I got to pay tax on the money in my bank? Had I bought gold, nobody would have known and there would be no tax on it. They don't tax gold. They don't know you have it. They don't get that 1099G or whatever to show that you had the money in the bank that the bank sends the government. There's no bank and no government in the middle of the gold transaction. So this is the biggest problem. The free market's good to make you money. See, the whole idea of the free market is the division of labor to do what you want. So I talked to this girl, what are you going to do, when you graduate? And she says, I don't know. And I says, well, one way of understanding is what don't you like to do? And from that, you might drill into what you'd like to do, or at least you'll know what you don't like to do. But maybe you think about it. So she doesn't even care or think about it or whatever. But this is what the problem with kids, they don't think about it, but they don't think about, it's not even in their radar to buy gold or silver. This is the problem. They don't get it. That's why I kind of give my friends a quarter ounce of gold or an ounce of silver to get them into buying it, right? But look, I gave you some silver, buy more, and it's $25. It doesn't move. Well, okay, but what does your dollar do? See, they don't realize the dollar goes to zero, or it's gone to zero, as Pat's saying. I only care because something big is around the corner. Well, we know what big is brics. So brics is coming around the corner October 22nd. That's the big thing. That's the big thing for us in the real world. The banks are going to have problems because of people paying back their loans. As I explained how a bank works, Pat gives me $100,000, I give him 3% interest, take his money, loan it out to somebody and I charge them 7% interest. It's a great racket, right? He gives me his payment includes the 7%. I give 3 to Pat, I keep the 4. And that's how the banks work. But if the guy doesn't pay me, then sorry, Pat, we're closed and you can't get your money out. And the stuff in the safety deposit box that you put in, you can't get that. We're just closing the doors and walking away. I love how a bank can do that. How do you not pay it off? But companies that go bankrupt, they do this. They just have all their inventory and they put it 80% off and close up shop. So banks close up shop, and a lot of banks are going to be closing up shop soon. Everything I think will happen after the election, and then they'll blame Trump for it. If Trump wins, they'll blame Trump for it. I hope he wins, but we'll see. It's not that I like him. I don't want a Nazi running our country any more than he's been George Soros. See, everybody thinks Kamala Harris would do something. She ain't going to do shit. She's going to do the same thing Biden did. It'll still be George Soros running the country, not Obama. Obama's too stupid to run the country, or Hillary Clinton, all the evil people. But it's George Soros is running them. So the problem with people, you work to make money to live, grocery shop, clothes, food, a house, go on a trip. That's why we work, so we can do that. And then it becomes, but you don't want to put your money in crap. So this is the part of the equation people aren't getting. You don't want your money in this, but nobody knows that. Nobody understands that. They don't teach it. This is the most critical thing you can teach, is to not leave your money in the bank, to put it into gold and silver. I don't care if you're 15 years old or 100 years old. As you get money, you don't want to leave it in the bank. First of all, it's not worth anything. Secondly, you're not going to get it out of the bank, even if you get 3% of the bank. I mean, is that why you got the money in the bank, for protection and the 3% they're giving you? I'll have to ask her. I'll have to ask her for class purposes. What are you doing with your money? Putting it in the bank. Why? It's safe, probably. And I get 4% interest. So I make money on my money. And what if I could tell you a way to make more money that's even safer? Do you think she'd listen? No, I doubt it. This is the problem. And then as they grow up and they think, oh, I got $1 million in the bank with my 401k, and they're all excited, but you don't have anything of value. The dollar itself is worthless unless it's backed by a gold and or silver, but usually gold. If it's not backed by anything, it's worthless. So going to the grocery store and putting 4 things in your cart and it's $50. I did that yesterday. I got vegetables and what did I get? I didn't get meat. I think I got a can of tuna, maybe. No, I don't even think I did that. I looked for eggs. They didn't have my eggs, so I'll have to go to the other grocery store tomorrow. But it's I got pita bread. I got a couple of avocados and a couple of nectarines and some veggies, and that was it. And it was like $45. And I'm like, oh no, I got my castor oil. So my foot's been bothering me. We think it's gout, but it could be bone chips, bone spurs. So watching the video, the lady with the bone spurs says, "Oh, rub castor oil on it and give it about a week, and just rub it on a cloth for like an hour, and then let it soak into your foot, and then it should heal it." So I'm going to try that. I couldn't do it yesterday because I had to ice my foot, and then today I'll do it after class. And Jenna starts going into me on, well, you want to put ice on your foot or that? It's like you need to get inside the foot or something. I'm like, dude, I go to the doctor, they put me on pills, right? What good is that? I don't want to rely on pills. I either want to, I think I got bone spurs because I'll walk and my foot bothers me way too often. So I'm going to try the castor oil to seek in and do it. I'll let you know how it works. But she's I think, just ready to go home. She's been in Germany for a month. She's got to take she says my bus is tonight. And she's going to take, she has a 12-hour bus ride to go from Berlin to Warsaw, Poland. Then she's got a 20 or 25-hour probably train ride from Poland to her city in the Ukraine. I don't know how she does it. I mean, it drives me nuts. And once she said she had to sit on the floor, there were no seats. Just insane. Insane what the Ukrainians have to put up with. But anyway, so she's been there like a month, so she's headed home. But it's just the thing. Now she wants me to buy gold. I said, gold's $2,500. Buy gold. So it all gets back to, you're working to make the medium of exchange, to use it to buy other goods or services. Like she needs it to buy food. She needs it to buy to travel. She wants to go visit her friend in Berlin, and now she's going to go home, so she needs transportation to do it. So I kind of said it's a shame that the airports are still not open in the Ukraine. You could have just easily flown in a couple hours. She got mad. She's like, enough with the flights, enough with the airport. I said, well, I was just trying to say it's a shame they're not working. So anyway, that's that. Daria got her coat today. She was really happy. I says, well, do you need like a hat or gloves or anything? I mean, because she says it gets pretty windy in St. Pete in the fall. So yeah, I could use some I think she said, I have a hat, I need gloves, or I have boots, I need gloves and a hat or something. So she said, will you buy them for me? I said, yeah, let me know the price. But anyway, see, that's the difference. Once you understand what an asset is and what a depreciating asset is, that's the point. You have your money. I mean, this is all worthless. So you guys go to work and you have this, or Pat, you have your other currencies. They're worthless. You're making money. With the money's okay because you can use it to pay the bills. Anything over the bills should be used to switch to a better asset. You don't have to leave it in dollars. The whole fallacy of putting in a bank is not, there's no reason for it. Oh, it's safe there. Oh, really? It's safe there. Really, it's being inflated to nothing and try to get it out like the Chinese. So I don't safe in the bank. Yeah, I can see people not wanting $1 million sitting at home unless it's sitting in gold. Then what? 100,000 is 10,000 is, let's say, 3 ounces times 10 is 100,000. So 3 times 10 is 30 ounces times 10 is 300 ounces of gold. Here it would be like just here's 5. So imagine 300, and it'd be nothing. You could easily hide it away, put it in the fridge, put it in the pickle jar or something where nobody would ever guess. Not in with the pickles, but in a pickle jar, empty one. And you'd be making money and not having to pay tax on it and watching it go up. So the reason's been, well, gold doesn't go up. Gold doesn't give a dividend. We've heard that one. And this is the problem that people, but neither does the dollar. So what do you do with the dollar? Oh, well, I'll buy stocks with it. I'll buy some. I want to grow my money that I've earned and put it in an investment. So I'll put it in an annuity and I get 5%, or I put it in Microsoft and I can buy 2 shares of it and, watch it go up $10 and I made $20. That's why they invest, because it's all get rich. I was watching the crypto queen, which we had talked about earlier. She pulls a Madoff where she promises wealth, and she says, "Oh, we're all going to we're going to get rid of Bitcoin, and it'll be one coin," which didn't exist. There was no blockchain. There was no one coin. She was manipulating the price, and people were just hook, line, and sinker, giving her money, giving her, thousands and millions of dollars for nothing, for a promise you're going to get rich, for something that didn't even exist. This is why I don't like digital. I can't see it. I can't touch it. I don't even know if it's real. Is Bitcoin real? Well, I guess because they have a blockchain, but so this one coin isn't even real. People are giving her money because they can get rich. And that's it, Mr. Pat. It all make-believe fairy dust. Well, exactly, Pat. And that's the problem, is people believe in the fairy dust. Why? Why do you believe in crypto? Why do you even go there and try to believe that it's actually money? So there was zero money, right? People are giving her money, and then she allowed you to buy a little bit on some back door where, oh, you got $1 million, you can take 500 out. So people have all this credit, but they can't get the money out. So how would you like to do that? I mean, I don't know how Bitcoin works. I don't want to, but if you own a Bitcoin, you own $60,000. Can I get the 60,000? I don't know how easy that is. I guess it's easy. I guess you take it out of your wallet and do it, but It's all a Ponzi scheme. But people are so desperate to make money, to kind of get out of the system. I don't want to work. So I don't want to work. I want to get rich because I know I need money to pay my bills, which is their first mistake. If your goal is to retire, your money shouldn't be in Bitcoin. It should be in gold and or at least a Rolex, right? If you want to be rich, you don't put it in a OneCoin or a Bitcoin. You put it in gold because it's been price fixed, so it's a little frustrating. You could have also put it in a Rolex or a Mantle card. I put it in gold and the Mantle card. I didn't get into Rolexes. And that's the beauty of it. It's your choice. But what you find is a very limited asset with high demand and high price. So gold is very limited with high demand. It's just the way they have it, the market is a disconnect. So if we all bought, 1,000, if we all bought 1,000 tons, everybody here bought 1,000 tons, it would move the price. So I saw that on Alligator's show once, I think. And the guy said, well, if we all buy an ounce of gold, the price will go up. And I was like, he doesn't understand. The price won't go up at all. That has nothing to do with it. He's just trying to sell his gold, motherfucker. Because that's the first thing you realize in a price fixed market. It's got nothing to do with the market, the free market. Like I say, if we go to the grocery store and everybody buys the Coke and the Coke 2 liters are off the shelf, they can't keep it on the shelf, they'll raise the price. But that's not what's happening. They can't sell it at $2.95, it goes down. The market dictates the price. So the people working now have to realize that don't put your money in dollars. You've got to put them in gold and silver. Now they're going to get a little bit fucked because when the gold and silver is gone, it's going to cost them a whole lot more for gold and silver. That's what takes you. So that's why silver's still low. It'll be beneficial to, like, that's all I hear from the lifeguards. None of them have any money. I think they're just trying to tell me I don't want to hear. Except for there's a couple who have money and they're buying gold, and I go, it's 2,400, and they're freaking out. Now it's 2,500, and they're freaking out. And you're right. You called it. Da 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 da. And this is the problem. So the young people, to be trained properly, pay your bills in the crap dollar that nobody understands why they still take. But everything over that, you buy gold and silver with. You buy 1/10 of an ounce of gold, it's about $300 now. A 1/4 ounce of gold is $700. Silver is $30. Go buy a bunch of silver. Go buy 10 ounces. Don't tell me you don't have $300. Go buy 10 ounces of silver and just keep buying 10 ounces of silver every once a month. I mean, otherwise you're putting the money in the bank and it's losing value, going to zero, and you'll never get it out. And if you do get it out, it's worthless. Why would that be a good idea to put your money in the bank? Pat, gold is the revealer of true wealth and the terminator of fraudulent schemes. Only if it's physical gold. If it's ETF or IRA gold, as I showed you that one, I don't know if you were here, Pat. Some guy got scammed because he tried to move his 401k into a gold IRA or gold stocks, and they were going to move it for him, and they never moved it. They took all his money, and basically he was broke because they took his money and were going to put it into gold and didn't do it. So physical gold, specify physical, not paper, not ETFs and not IRAs. It's got to be, you go to the jeweler who has the gold, and you give them your fake money, your bullshit. Here's my fake dollar. Give me the real money, the real gold, and buy a big safe. And that's what the kids need to understand, because without it, they're all going to get screwed, and they don't need to. Yeah, those schemes are everywhere. No counterparty risk is key. Well, that's why you buy physical gold. You don't, it's not the counterparty risk in the gold. It's you can't print it. Nobody can print it. Nobody can say to you it's worthless. That's the key of gold over everything else. I mean, this is somebody else is printing it. You have to trust JP Morgan to not print this. You can trust them? As I say, I got oceanfront property to sell you here in Detroit. And there's no ocean in Detroit, Pat. This is the problem. But why do people get Ponzi scheme? Because they want to get rich and they don't know how. So they're very trusting people who are trying to scam them. So this is the problem with it. Thank you, Pat. This is the problem, that they have the right idea, getting rich. But the problem is the government has held the price of gold down, so people don't see it as the option of getting out of the dollar and going into gold. So they get into Bitcoin, they don't even really get into baseball cards to make money, or Rolexes. They don't understand. They'll put their money in money. They'll put it in stocks. They'll put it in bonds. They put it in real estate trusts. Oh, this will pay you higher interest, a real estate trust. And they just get killed. Every one of them gets killed because they have no idea what they're doing. Why aren't they being taught this? Right? It's simple. And when BRICS comes out with the gold-backed currency and the dollar collapses, what are people going to do? Nothing. They're all in big fucking trouble. Well, the government will come out with USD #2, and it's Putin's fault. And then they'll take that, and they'll still be screwed because it's still not backed by anything. That's why you got gold. It has value, and it's limited, and there's high demand. You must have a limited and high demand. The demand will keep the price up, and the limited will keep the price even higher, because that makes people go into it. If gold wasn't limited, you wouldn't have a value. But because it's very limited, you have the value. Like my Mahomes card, because it's Mahomes, draws the demand. The fact it's a 50 count also draws, but it's a Mahomes 50 count. That's the icing on the cake. It's that it's limited and it's Mahomes, so there's demand. That's why I bought it basically sight unseen at a Foot Locker for $50. And I looked at the corners are good. There's no centering. I didn't see any real problems. Should be a 10. No, it's worth, at least $1,000. So I bought it instantly because it was Mahomes and 50 count. And I really don't have any Mahomes cards, which I don't mind having. But that's what I did. I know baseball cards. That's why they need to be numbered. They need to be limited. And that's, gold's not numbered, but we know gold's gold. So what the government's been fighting is, how do we keep people in the dollar? Well, we won't let the price of gold go up, so nobody will want to be in gold. And since nobody knows what's going on, except for me and you guys, they sit there and nobody would buy gold. I mean, I've been at the pool countless times over the years about gold. Well, I bought gold, but I lost money on it. It didn't go up. And then I needed the money and I lost money on it. And I'm like, you're an idiot. It's hard to talk to these people. It's price fixed. Of course, you've got to let it run now. But now that it's going up, I wouldn't sell it because I don't want to miss the fun. 100 people would want your oceanfront condo in Detroit. Yeah, exactly. Nobody is being taught, so the few who run the show own all the physical. Well, they don't even know. I mean, so who's got all the physical? China, 60,000 tons. Russia, 20,000. India, I don't know what they got. Maybe 5 to 10. Saudi Arabia, let's say 10. South Africa, probably 10 or 20. So yeah, the few central banks of these countries in BRICS will have the money. Otherwise, the central banks have it. The puzzlement is the Warren Buffets, Bill Gates, those guys don't have any. They've got the money and they're about to get the rude awakening that it's worthless. But they have the money to buy the gold. But who are they going to listen to? Their financial advisor. And he'll never put them in gold. Buy these stocks, buy that stock. So Warren Buffett sold his stocks, 25 billion or 250 billion, whatever the hell the number was. So what's he doing? He's probably got the money in his bank account. Not smart enough, even him, to buy gold. Why not? He doesn't know about it. Why not? A guy like that you would think would learn to be in gold, yet he doesn't. He has no idea about it. Like I said yesterday, all these companies, Toyota and Ford and GM, I would just dump all my inventory, close my plants, take all my cash and buy gold and go sit on an island watching the gold price go up. I wouldn't fuck around with the making cars. I mean, see, there wouldn't be too many, there'd be mass unemployment if I was in charge because I would close all my companies and take the money and buy gold with it, saying we're not making anything else. We're just buying gold. Imagine how many are in silver. Pretty much no one. I think there's a little bit more people in silver. Warren Buffett, I think, had silver or used to. But the idea of the silver was not that it was money, it was an industrial use. And now that it's in solar panels and electric cars, people are buying it for that reason that, oh, you can see an industrial. But yeah, it's money too, and it's dirt cheap. See, again, because of the low price, I can't get rich with it. So I don't want to buy it. That's the problem. So when I do give silver out to my friends to try to get them into it, I go, well, it's about $25, but give it about 6 months to a year. It's going to be worth $100. Yeah, sure it will be. And again, totally not understanding the game. You're kind of like, oh, thanks, but I don't know. I mean, that's the biggest problem. They're not taught it. So they'll do like the lifeguard and she'll stick her money in the bank, never dreaming that the money could run out and be worthless. As our friend just said, Greece ran out of money, went broke, and Spain's running out of money and going broke, and we're running out of money and going broke. We're already past broke. So we keep printing, but it's worthless. So when they print money, it's worthless. So for them to pay $1 trillion on the debt, they just laugh, going, "Well, it doesn't matter. It's toilet paper we're paying it with." Stocks. That's why everything on the Titanic is worthless, because it's paper that has no value. Yeah, okay, Microsoft's worth $100 a share. Okay, but their assets are worthless because they're priced in dollars. So we're going to watch the stock market crash. The best place to be is in gold and silver, but nobody will understand that. 1,000 trillion times zeros. Well, that's what I say about Warren Buffett. He's got like $200 billion of monopoly money. But you're right, Pat. I mean, that's the whole point. So the first goal would be these kids, instead of putting your money in instead of saving money, save gold and silver. They can't afford a Rolex at this point. So just say go buy $30. You can buy 3 or 4 ounces of silver. They give you the nice white container and just keep the goal would be to fill it and then get another and another. And I mean, when I started, I had 35 Highland Mint baseball, football, hockey coins. So when I was collecting cards, my Mantle cards, Montana, everything, they came out with coins. Well, I like coins, and it would be the same, you know. There was a Mickey Mantle, it was Jordan, it was Montana, Barry Sanders. So I got them. So I got about 35 of them. And so I said, I got my silver. I don't need any silver. I got my silver. And then I started learning more and more, and then go, well, I better get more. And I just bought it on the IFCOM. I wasn't trying to buy as much. I got almost 650 ounces of silver now, which I wasn't. I had 37 I was happy with. And now I realize that it's a no-brainer. It's going to the moon. It's a no-brainer. So therefore, off you go with it. Would you swap your silver for gold now? No, because I believe the silver is going to get like right now it's 80-1. So I need 80 ounces of silver for gold. And I think I need silver for the grocery store or, for smaller transactions. I got to see how that's going to play out. But I think it'll get closer. It'll get to 10-1. When you get out of it and people need gold, they won't be able to get it or it'll be too expensive. They're going to run to silver, which is going to run the price up. So at 80-1, it's too much. But at 10-1, yes, I would take 10 ounces of silver for an ounce of gold all day. So that's what I would be waiting for. But that is the intent. Now, to throw the monkey into the wrench, at that time, are you going to be able to find gold? I go to my gold store. Okay, here, I got 10 ounces of silver. I want an ounce of gold. We don't have any gold. That's what my fear is. So the concept sounds good. Take 10 ounces for the ounce of gold. Beautiful. That's the concept. But will it be the reality? Will he have any gold ounces? This I don't know, and I can't say. It's just like what's brics going to price their gold at? 5,000, 7,500, 10,000. I'm not sure where they're going to price it at. We've never been down this road before, so I can't say. It's sort of like these NFL quarterbacks. Well, how's Caleb going to do? Well, I think he's going to suck because of what he did in college, right? He was not very good in college. I don't see him being very good in the pros. But that's what I'm going with. But again, we've not seen him, so we got to see him in the pros, although we have seen him in college. Kind of a bad example, but certain things that have not happened before, we have to wait and see. Like, what are they going to revalue gold at when the brics rolls out the gold-backed currency? This is the question. October 22nd. I'll do like Mark McGuire, October 22nd. And it will be real gold-backed currency, not digital bullshit, one coin currency. Like I said, they might do it to buy, for China to buy oil from Saudi Arabia. They might just digitally send it. Like if you gave me PayPal for my football picks, you're going to send your picks and I get it in PayPal. Well, that's probably the way it'll work for the oil transfer from Saudi to China or Russia to China. But right now they got SWIFT to get in the way and they need US dollars for it. So the whole system's based on that needing US dollars to be the middleman. And therefore we can then do our transactions. So that's what they're doing. I don't think it'll be digital, but it'll be just like PayPal, but without going through SWIFT. That's what they're going to do. Well, the time frame for below 30-1 is very hard to come up with. Again, I think it happens once BRICS comes out in the gold-backed currency, and then once people realize it, and then gold gets so expensive, it's at 15,000, and the average Joe realizes he needs gold, can't afford it, and he goes, "Oh, silver's money too," and then they start running into silver. But I can't. That's the time frames like that. I don't know. Well, let's take it one frame at a time. Let's look at what happens October 22nd when BRICS announces and gold goes up. Will COMEX blow up, and then will silver be free? And then we know the demand for silver is huge in India and Saudi Arabia wanting to build solar panels. So we know there's huge demand, and they probably don't have any in COMEX probably has no silver. So that's already a done deal. So hard to do a time frame, but we'll play it one step at a time. We know it will happen. It's just at what point. Is it best to have both, but overnight in silver and dollars? So basically, prices circumventing the banking system. Yeah, that's what they're doing is getting out of the BRICS of the SWIFT system. Is that both, but overnight in silver and dollars? I don't understand that question, Pat. It's anything to get out of the dollar and have gold and silver is fine. I would like more gold than silver at this point, but I'd still have some silver. You will need it for smaller purchases. But yeah, that's the whole key to it. You want to your main goal is to get out of the dollar, or with your Singapore dollar, my US dollar. That's your main goal, get out of the dollar. Number one. What you choose, I would definitely have gold, even though it's more expensive. And probably, my coins are much more silver than gold, but in value, it's much more gold than silver. So, like, if I have 50 ounces of gold at $2,500 an ounce versus, 500 ounces of silver at $30 an ounce. So, the amount wise, the value of it is much more gold, and the coin amount is obviously more in silver. But I would want more gold than silver. I'd probably 75-25, somewhere in there, because it's gold and everybody's going to take it, and you can't. It's indestructible. Like I said, you put it in that silver, that white silver thing, and you can. Now I like leaving the tops on it, so I got like 11 ounces in one of the silver things, and that's fine. And so I can walk through in my front pocket and go fly somewhere, and nobody knows. Silver, I need a big box of the 10 silver things. That's the only problem traveling wise, is to do that. So it's much better to travel with gold and maybe a few ounces of silver, but we'll see what happens with that. So you prefer to be more focused on gold than silver? Yes. Still, you want some silver, and you still want that 10-1. But if I had a choice, and I've had this choice a lot lately, I would rather buy a tenth of an ounce of gold at 300 than 10 ounces of silver at 300. And I've done it. Or I'd rather buy a quarter ounce of gold for 660, 670 than that in silver, than 20 ounces of silver. Yeah, so I'd rather have the quarter ounce, because again, it's not volume, it's value, and it's much easier, because when gold goes up, it goes up $1,000. I mean, look what's going on. It goes 2,400, 2,500, and that quarter ounce goes up, but the silver doesn't move. Will it move? Sure. When's it moving? I don't know. Because we know why, because of COMEX holding it. So we're just really waiting for that. The big wild card is the massive short positions on silver. Ed Sheeran said that if they capitulate, we could see triple-digit silver overnight. Sure. The short positions, though, expire. That's what you got to understand about these options. They expire. They don't stay short. You have them for like a month or two, and there's weekly and there's monthly and quarterly, and they expire. So anybody stupid enough to be shorting gold or silver has no idea what they're doing. J.P. Morgan, and that's it. So now we'll see triple digit silver soon enough. So again, so psychologically says people will get rich, want to get rich, and don't care how. They don't care if they're in Madoff and it's a Ponzi scheme and they know it, but they're making money and they don't care. Or with this one queen, crypto queen girl, who basically doesn't even have it. It's all make believe, but they want to get rich, so they go into it. I mean, it's just it shows you how many people don't really want to work and want an easy life, or what they think's an easy life, and would rather not. So they look for anything that can make them money. Oh, this will go like Bitcoin. Well, now is Bitcoin one coin? Is there real money in it? There's no coins. How do you invest in something that doesn't exist? This is what I don't. And then but I'm glad I'm in it. It's going to go up. It doesn't even exist. There is no Bitcoin. What the fuck are you talking about? It's just what it's computer code. You bought computer code for $60,000. You're out of your mind. It must be backed by gold. It will go to zero. I'm very convinced of that. It just doesn't. It just, believe me, if I thought I could make money at it, I'd buy it. What do I tell you? Rolex, Mantle cards, gold and silver. Well, why do I say those? Because you can make money in them. Why don't I say Bitcoin? Because you're not going to make money in it. It doesn't exist. It's a Ponzi scheme. What makes it go up and down? Who knows? Supply demand, I doubt. Gold doesn't use supply and demand. Gold uses derivatives. So we at least understand what's happening. Pat, they keep piling on record amount of shorts because they desperately want you out of dollars, or want you in dollars. So they don't want that price to go up, because then you might buy that instead of the dollars, because they want a monopoly. They can't compete with gold and silver. So again, it comes free market economics. You build a laptop, somebody else builds a laptop. Now you've got competition. I got to make it better to sell it. I got to sell it cheaper. But if I have a monopoly, I don't have to worry about it. I can make it like crap, and I don't care what the price is. And that's, what you have. But that's the problem. So they can't compete with gold, and they know it. And when BRICS comes out with the gold-backed currency, they won't be able to compete with it. And that'll be the end of it. Can you imagine the trading volume on an average day is in the billions of ounces of fake silver every day? Yeah, I know that. I mean, they only have 4% real gold and silver, and then it's 96% leverage. And when they do a contract, they do like 1,000 contracts. But it's the way the game is set up. So you've got to understand that's how whoever designed the COMEX Ponzi scheme. Because it was really not set. It was there to set the price of gold and silver by manipulating it with the derivatives. That's how it was set up. It had nothing to do with the free market and how much was bought or sold in reality. was never intended to be that. It was just intended, well, we want gold at $40 an ounce. And then as it moved around, they do derivatives to get it up and down. And that's how it was intended in the 1970s, because gold had went from $37 to $800 because of the inflation. Because once you stop backing the money by gold, it's inflated. Then they pushed it down and got it down to like 200, and all because there was no it was price fixed and nobody knew it. And then they said, oh, gold's, imagine you bought gold at 800 an ounce, it goes down to what, 200? I know it was 250 in 1995 when I bought that. And I thought that was very low for gold. I says, because once I learned that if you print the money, then it goes down in value and gold goes up, knowing they weren't going to stop printing the money, I said, well, gold's got to go up because they can't stop printing it. The government needs the money and all the corrupt people print and print and print. I says, they'll never stop printing, which means that gold's going to go through the roof. I knew that in 1995 when I got my master's, and I got taught that. I said, why doesn't everybody just, the light went on right then. Well, why doesn't everybody just buy gold? Not knowing it was price fixed, I don't believe. And yet knowing that the dollar was going to go out in 1995. So this is where we're at. So it's, again, getting people into gold and silver and out of dollars. And how do you convince them to do that? What's the best way? I have no idea. Then you have the crypto queen Ponzi scheme and the Madoff Ponzi scheme. So people are willing to invest in nothing to make money. And even if they figured out Madoff was bullshit, because even when the market tanked, he still made money and was always 11 or 12 or 15%. They had to know Ponzi, I would think. Well, some of the people should know. Others are probably just, my dad's in it, so I invested in it. What gets me is the amount of money they put into it. That Villa Sway guy from Europe, who they show on the Netflix thing, who had like hundreds of millions of dollars, says, well, I did my due diligence. Oh, well, then your due diligence needs work because you didn't see that was a Ponzi scheme. I mean, that's insanity. Because, I mean, even if you can't see it, if you use logic, and logic says, it'd be like somebody saying, I can pick 100% in football, or I can pick every stock, I can go 100%, I'm going to make money. You can't. As good as you are at it, I'm outstanding picking football games. I can't go 100%. There's always the injury, the turnover. Something happens in the game that you don't have factored in, and you lose it. That's the way it is. And that's how anybody that goes 100% like Madoff, if you hear that and that doesn't scare you away, you're an idiot. But that's the mentality of the people. I don't care if it's a Ponzi scheme. I want to make money. I want to be rich. I want to have a nice lifestyle. I want to not work. I want to whatever. Own a boat, own a nice house, own some nice golf clubs, go to Hawaii for a month. I mean, there's all these dreams that people have, but to get them, they don't understand it. They don't. Oh, you mean all I got to do is give Madoff money? He's going to give me 15% a year, a month, I guess. And I don't care how he does it. As long as he keeps paying me, I'm happy. Oh, okay, let me do it. Do you know what you're doing? No. So then are you insane? Why would you give Madoff your money? And the same thing with Crypto Queen. Oh, it'll be one coin and we'll all make a fortune. How? I mean, it all seems so good. That's the picture painted. But the mentality of See, somebody like me questions it. I'm not taken in by that shit. I know better. If I bet Madoff or the next Madoff or one of these Sam Bankman-Fried guys or Jim the Anvil Meinhardt, I'm gonna question. I remember I was working at Harlem Walker in the '90s, and one of my friends from high school I haven't seen in years reaches out, "Hey, let's get together." What about? Well, let's just get together. So he's trying to get me into a Ponzi scheme. Um, what was it called? Amway, where it's the the direct marketing Ponzi scheme. Well, if I get you, you give me money, but then you get five people, and it was about selling products. Like you're going to sell shampoo and hairspray, and you sell it to your friends, and you get points, and then you make money from them, and I make money from you, and it was all this direct. It was direct marketing Ponzi scheme. And after about 5 minutes, I just said, "You're wasting my time with this shit." I could smell it was bullshit. And I think that's the best thing about Austrian economics. You can smell the bullshit. You know, it's like this call I got yesterday from Social Security. Oh, there's fraud on laundering money and this and that in Texas. I go, I don't live in Texas. You got a restricted number. Go fuck yourself. And I hung up. I didn't buy it because it's, Social Security is not going to call you on a restricted number about something in Texas when you live in Michigan. So I immediately smelled that was a scam. So be careful of that one. Be careful of the IRS one. They don't call you. They put something in the mail. So there's a lot of these scams because people are not working and need money. So they're trying different scams. So what the conversation was going to go to is, well, let me check your Social Security number so I can scam you. And I cut her off before she got there. I just said, I'm not interested. I'm going to hang up now. Goodbye. It was so stupid. But this is the thing. You got to smell that stuff. If it's too easy or too good to be true, believe me, it is. Nobody's giving you 15%. It's not going to happen. It can't happen. There's no investment giving you that. I say I pick 70% in football. I do for 30 years. That's why I post my history. You can see the games that I bet. You can see the history. So I'm showing you I won this game, I lost this game. And that's the idea of doing it is you can see, because I know it's very hard to believe I can do 70%. Most people can't. But it's like Madoff doing 100% and then saying, don't tell anybody. It's just if you understood what was if you just used logic and what was going on, you'd go, nobody can pick 100%. That's impossible. There's no way. It's all when people talk fast and people don't explain, just get the fuck out. I know you want to get rich and you want to do things like that, but you've got to understand it. I don't like Bitcoin because you can't show me Bitcoin. It's digital. I don't want anything to do with it. And I don't understand what a blockchain is. Oh, it's a general ledger. Oh, it's a big fucking deal. I read general ledgers all the time on SAP. I mean, what's the big deal about it? It's just records. So what's the big deal? And then show me the money. How do I get the money out? I transfer it where? To my bank, and then my bank's going to accept it? Really? So there's too many things with Bitcoin. It's such a scam. And then OneCoin, well, wait a minute, I can't get my money out. So I've given you money and it's grown supposedly, but when I try to get it, I can't. I don't want to deal with that. That's always the thing. How do I get my money out? Oh, you just sell it and there'll be blockchains and this and that, which again, it's just words that don't mean anything. Pat, what are you up to here? Pat, Alan Greenspan is the godfather of the derivatives complex. I thought it was the guy from, I thought it was Jamie Dimon from J.P. Morgan. And then it turned into Larry Fink fucked everybody in 2008. He was the one with the mortgage-backed securities, supposedly, who played that whole stupid game. And then you have all these derivatives players. So if you watch the Big Short movie, and I thought it was stupid, I was looking at Batman going, why are you playing such an idiot for? He acted so stupid. I was like, you're Batman. You don't act stupid. But they were explaining derivatives at the blackjack table. So what was it? Celine Dion's there, and she's got 20. The dealer has a 6-up, so everybody's betting she'll win the hand. And then people were betting against the people. So 2 people who aren't in the hand are betting on it. And then 2 people behind them are betting on the 2 people that aren't in the hand who's going to win. And I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I can't bet on a football game in the middle of the game. That's the other thing I don't understand or like is this live betting. I think it's stupid. You can't call the plays. I can look at a game like the Super Bowl and say, I'm going to bet on Mahomes. Now, I don't know how it's like, this is like gold. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know Mahomes is going to win. I'm going to bet Mahomes. And I did, and it won. It didn't go the way I thought, but they won. And that's the point. You eventually, you know the final, but in the middle of the game, you can't tell. But you know he's going to win it. He'll be there to win it, which he was. And so that's the big problem with a lot of this stuff. So that's why I don't like this live betting. I think it's stupid. You don't know what's going to happen. And if you know, like I have an idea, so when I make my bet, the bet is based on the end of the game. This is what's happening. I'm not going to chase in the middle of the game. Anyway, Trump and BlackRock are creating a big hype for cryptos. I wonder why. Well, they do the ETF on cryptos. Obviously, there's money to be made for Trump and BlackRock on cryptos. He's controlling the ETFs of crypto, so we know what an ETF looks like, or the derivative. That's where COMEX is going into Bitcoin. All right, so they're going to do the Bitcoin COMEX. The more people they get in it, the more money they can steal. Same thing. They'll control the price of Bitcoin. Who gives a fuck? Let them do it. What I don't get is people thinking Bitcoin's the answer, not gold. Well, I'm in Bitcoin. And you're like, why is that the alternative to money? Why Bitcoin and not gold? See, that's where JP Morgan and the derivative COMEX has gotten people so they keep the gold price down so nobody thinks it'll do anything. And they think it's supply and demand. They don't think it's derivatives. So people go, I don't want to be in gold. Oh, here's this Bitcoin. So imagine choosing Bitcoin over gold. You've got to be out of your mind. And then it runs up to 60,000 and that's it. And then I think it hits 70. Now it's back to 50 something. And they'll suck people in. Oh, you got to get out of the dollar. And the only place is crypto. I mean, people are going to get broke that way too. They're just trying to break more people. And they know if you're in gold, you're the king. You can't get fucked. But that's why it's all about money. So why are people sucked into these Ponzi schemes? It's too good to be true, yet they still suck into it. This is really the confusing part. Here you got BRICS going to a gold-backed currency. Do you think anybody understands gold's going to go through the moon? Probably not. It has to. The demand's there, and they got to make a higher price because they got to have enough money to back it by gold. That's why it can't be digital. How are you going to have digital? Nobody's going to know if it's real or not. On the digital system, it says a million, you have 1 million gold BRICS dollars. Okay, whatever. So then we get to human psyche, which is I want to be rich at any cost. Even if I get Ponzi schemed, I want to get rich. These people in OneCoin still think it's real, even though she said it's fake. It's just made up. It's a Ponzi scheme. And yet people don't want to admit they're wrong and are still staying in it. So they'll stay in OneCoin that doesn't exist, but they won't go into gold. So they don't want to admit they made a mistake. And that's what you get with the government. They don't want to make a mistake about they shouldn't be in Ukraine or they shouldn't be in Israel or what the fuck. They shouldn't have done sanctions, but they won't admit it. So sanctions were the stupidest thing because that gets everybody. Now, are they actually, did that happen by mistake or on purpose, the sanctions? That's a good question. Are they really this stupid to do sanctions and then everybody's scared of being sanctioned? So they all run away from the US dollar and run into BRICS. It's gold-backed currency. Is that done on purpose or a mistake? Did we do the sanctions on purpose to get everybody to run? Or, now I don't see the logic behind it, but it's so stupid that you got to ask that question. I think the people in charge are babies and they think that we don't want, we're going to sanction you. Like I'm going to tell my mother on you or your mother on you or whatever. And that's, I think, what it is. I'm going to tell, your mother mentality if you do. And then the countries get sanctioned and they're all fucked. So to avoid being sanctioned, join BRICS and it's gold-backed currency. And this way, you don't have to worry. I know you don't trust Putin or Xi. You don't have to. It's gold-backed currency. But I'm even wondering how reliable that is. It's done by purpose. Maybe, but I don't see what the reason is the U.S. would have done it. I don't see the purpose of the U.S. doing it. Unless it was George Soros pushing it, and then he's going, this is join BRICS and get out of the dollar and the de-dollarization. I love how they come up with names for everything. De-dollarization. What the fuck is that? Get out of the dollar. That's more like it. But most things are probably done on purpose, but here they're so stupid. So are they blowing up the US dollar on purpose and the 36 trillion in debt? Is that on purpose to get us into a CBDC to control us? Is that really what's going on? Anyway, those are the biggest issues. People wanting to get rich without understanding what they're getting into, which is why Ponzi schemes work. And all these people doing the Ponzi schemes, and they all live a nice life. I mean, they're gonna get caught. Don't they realize that they're fucking around with the wrong people? You can't do a Ponzi scheme the way they're trying to do it, like the crypto queen. She's getting involved with Russian and Bulgarian mafia. She doesn't think they're going to want their money. That's the problem with it. That's what Madoff's problem was. He got involved with the Russian mafia. So at the end, when he couldn't get any more money, he basically said to save his family, he said it was just me, but they would have killed his family if he would have said, it's the Russian mafia. So a lot of it comes from the mafia. Most of these schemes just to make money because they don't follow the law. They own the law anyway. So they're not concerned with the law because they're not going to get prosecuted. So what else? So we know gold is gold. Inflation again, printing the money. You're printing it. But nobody understands it. So it's funny. Nobody understands the Ponzi scheme, but then nobody understands the dollars going out either. So people are just like uneducated, but too busy to care to understand what they're doing. It's amazing. People don't get it. They don't keep the mind open to, hey, I'm going to teach you about gold. Oh, I don't want to learn that. It doesn't. I look at the price. Do you know why the price doesn't move? Like I said, I was in an interview and I said, do you understand why gold's at 2,000 an ounce? And the guy had no idea. And I didn't get the job. I should have just walked out. Like, you're too stupid to work for. If you don't understand that and you don't take the time to understand that, then you shouldn't be running a company that you've got to see why you're making money and look into it and understand it. But if you don't do that for gold, how can you possibly run a company? And this is the biggest problem with those type of people. Anyway, let's see. Is there any other videos? Let's look at this a little bit more.
Slide. After having an unemployment rate higher than Obama's, there was not a single month in the first term of Franklin D. Roosevelt when unemployment was not in double digits. And in a number of months, the unemployment was over 20%. And he won the biggest landslide in American history. So there's people who think that the economy is the key, that you can't win if your unemployment is 8%. Forget it.
Shortly before the Obama administration took office, the man who would become President Obama's chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, said, quote, "You never want a serious crisis to go to waste," close quote. Why do you find that significant?
Because it means that the crisis is presenting them with an opportunity to do things they wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And that's how he sees it. And everything that has happened since the new administration indicates that that's how the administration as a whole sees it.
So the crisis is providing an opportunity for President Obama and his supporters to do what they would have liked to do.
Yes.
But would otherwise have been unable to do.
Just as in the case of the New Deal, that the New Dealers, most of the key people in the New Deal were for big government intervention long before there was a stock market crash. It's just that the stock market crash gave them an opportunity to step in. It's another parallel is that people are talking about all these highly intelligent people with whom the president has surrounded himself. In Washington, FDR surrounded himself with highly intelligent people. That is no guarantee of anything except brilliant rationalizations for failure in some cases.
Well, highly intelligent people. I mean, there's people as smart as me, but did they take Austrian economics and understand the concepts? That's the difference. So there's other smart people with masters who don't understand Austrian economics, and they're not smart enough to learn it. And so they would advise somebody, no, just keep printing. That's what they got now. These MMT guys or Keynesians, they go, just keep printing money. They're smart. So the president listens to them, but what do they say? Just keep printing money. Nothing can happen. And if it was me, I'd be saying, stop printing and buy gold and get the hell out of the dollar. You're about to bankrupt the country. Now, would he listen? I don't know, but for sure that's what's going to happen. So these idiots who keep printing the money. Now I know Keynes was FDR's guy too. So it's a lot of, this is what I get to, is who you listen to. More so in football, but also with gold and stocks and stuff. Just gambling, right? The whole thing's gambling. And so be careful who you listen to. If you don't know the person and he says X, Y, or Z, do you listen to him? And that's where you can't listen to him. You've got to be very careful. Who am I talking to? So that's why it's important to know them. But even if you know the people, oh, he's my banker. Is he a Keynesian or an Austrian? That's why I asked the first question you ask. I would say I'm an Austrian. Most people wouldn't say anything because they don't know there's two economics, Keynesian and Austrian. That's where you've got to be careful, is who do you listen to? And I say that with football picks all the time. Somebody will ask me, I like Cincinnati, or, and you're like, what do you think? And I go, I don't like them. Why do you like him? Well, because Joe on the radio likes him, so he gave him out. Well, who is he? I don't know, but he's the guy that gives out picks, and he was right once last year. I mean, this is the problem. You don't know them, but by coming back and knowing me and understanding me, you build the trust and rapport. The football guys, they all trust me because they've seen it for year after year after year. Picking winners, and so they get that I have that concept down and I can do it, and I have the variables figured out, so they know I got it. And I'm going to miss some, although it's amazing how people get mad at me when I'm supposed to win with you, and I go, well, I can't go 100%. Some weeks are going to be very strong and some might be weak, but keep going. If we keep going, like, we're not going to lose. It's like gold. I tell you to buy gold. It doesn't go up every day. There are days it goes down, but we know in the long run it's going up, as is silver. But it doesn't go up every day, and you got to realize that. So that's where I get with the who do you trust thing.
Let me push back a little bit, Tom.
Push back.
President Obama took office. The financial system appeared close to collapse. Serious economists, including our colleague at the Hoover Institution, Robert Barrow, wrote that there was a significant chance of not just recession, but depression. And today we've got a financial system that's functioning. Housing prices are settling rather than crashing. And there seems to be a general consensus that we'll see a recovery within a year to 18 months. So why not take President Obama at his word and simply impute to him the motives that he claims? He came into office, passed a stimulus bill and a raft of other measures because of the financial crisis demanded that he do so, and it seems to have worked.
Well, I'm not as optimistic in predicting how things are going to be wonderful in a couple of years, but we'll know more in a couple of years. If you look at the stimulus package, the one thing it has not done is stimulate. Prior to the bailout money for the banks were lending a certain amount. After the bailout money, the banks were lending less. The stimulus means that he's not depending just on the government's own money being spent, producing the result, that this will stimulate others in the economy. It is not. The circulation of money, the speed with which money circulates in the economy, fell to the lowest level in 50 years. It fell
after the stimulus.
Yes. Business reduced its investment by something like 25 or more %. So that if you're looking in terms of what actually happens rather than the words that are used, what actually has happened shows no such stimulation as they're talking about.
If you're not making $158,000 per year, but you'd like to,
no such stimulation as they're talking about.
Barack Obama, during the same debate, if a woman is out there trying to raise a family, trying to support her family, and is being treated unfairly, then the court has to stand up if nobody else will. And that's the kind of judge I want.
That's
Close quote.
unconstrained. That somehow or other there are people with the judicial robes on who can just decide these things ad hoc, which among other things would mean we would no longer really have law. You would discover, once you got into the courtroom in front of the judge, you would then discover what the decision is, but you'd have no clue beforehand.
So that would, a full embrace of the unconstrained vision, which Barack Obama seems intent on, would overturn the fundamental basis of American law, which is a nation of laws, not of men. It
Absolutely.
would be a nation of law, of men, of judges.
Yes.
All right. September of this year, the Rasmussen polling company asked this question: should the Supreme Court make decisions based on what's written in the Constitution and legal precedents, or should it be guided mostly by a sense of fairness and justice? Close quote. 82% of McCain supporters said the Supreme Court should base its decisions on the Constitution. 29% of Obama supporters agree. 11% of McCain supporters said the Supreme Court should make its decisions on fairness. 49% of Obama supporters said that it should. Now, here's the question. You've said McCain constrained, Obama unconstrained. But what this would seem to indicate, this polling data, that this is not just a debate taking place among politicians or American elites. It's reached very deep into the American public.
Oh, absolutely.
49% of Americans think the Supreme Court should...
Of Obama supporters.
49% of Obama supporters, exactly, say the... So does that startle you? Does it alarm you?
It doesn't startle me. It depresses me. But, this has been going on for a long time. People complain about a court decision on the basis that they wish it had turned out differently. But that isn't the judge's job. There was a wonderful case, I wish I could remember the title of it, which Clarence Thomas said that he really agreed with the position taken by one of the litigants in the case, but that he wasn't there to decide that issue. He was there to decide what did the law say, and the law said otherwise, and so he voted against them. You see the same thing in Oliver Wendell Holmes, where in a number of cases he makes very cutting disparagements of one of the litigants in the case, and then votes in favor of him because I'm not here to decide what the merit is. One of his decisions, he said, I am not at liberty to discuss the justice of the act. The act is what it is, and once I know what that is, that's the decision I have to make.
Well, then, if you see, one more question here. You write, the unconstrained vision, again I'm quoting you, has tended historically toward creating more equalized economic and social conditions in society, even if the means chosen imply great inequality in the right to decide such issues and choose such means, close quote. Inequality in the right to decide issues. Does that tell us why the left in the United States seems so much more comfortable with having courts make social policy? That's what's going on.
Absolutely. That they want equality of outcomes, and they will choose how to make the outcomes equal. But they don't want equality of choice on the part of the people themselves. Many of the liberals say that they're for the family.
See, this is the problem. We have the rule book. So as I said, what do you need for a strong country? You need a rule book, which is the Constitution, gold-backed currency, free trade, low taxes. So, but you got to follow the rule book. And this is what the problem is. So we have this wonderful rule book, which made us very successful. And now people are coming in changing it. Well, it doesn't fit anymore. It was written before. No, it was what you should run. It says there cannot be gun control here because then the militia or the army will have a monopoly on the guns. And they'll do what the Nazis did, enter your home and pull you on a train and take you to a concentration camp and gas you. This is all because of gun control, and they realize it's not a good thing, and that's why it's written in the rules, we shall not have gun control. And it doesn't matter how many people get shot at in movies or in a school, they should go to jail and face their charges. But you can't, well, you know what, it's because of the gun. No, it's because of the kid. Same thing in the Trump shooting. It's the kid. Now, we believe it was Larry Fink and George Soros behind it, but it was the kid that did it, not anything else. So why would you even go there with let's say if he didn't have a gun, well, then he would have shot him. He would have thrown a knife at him, or another instrument they would have tried, or one of those James Bond things. I mean, this is the problem. So you've got to have these rules and stick to them, and that I find to be the biggest problem. We're supposed to have free speech here, but if you say that, if you say ABC instead of CBS, you're in trouble, and this is the problem. So you can have rules, but you've got to stick to them. We're supposed to only have gold and silver, but we don't. You're not supposed to inflate the money, but they're doing it. But now they're going to come home to the consequences. See, most people don't understand the consequences of printing money to zero. They don't get it. Well, it's the U.S. How can we're the reserve currency? Well, it doesn't mean anything. How can the currency go to zero? Well, because you printed it. The basic concept is if you keep printing it, it loses value. There's too much of it. You're no, that was the thing I brought up in the early part. It's just too much money and it's worthless. And that's the part people either don't understand and don't want to listen or whatever. But this is the problem with people. They want to, again, they want to put their money in the bank, in the savings, because it's safe there. And they don't want to buy gold because they don't want to take the time to understand if it's price fixed. Anyway, so I think that's about it. Let's check our gold price as we are getting there. It is $436. It is 2507, 2915. So you can see what happens. It starts going down at 2508 to 2505, and then boom, we're catching it on and up. So we have to look how quickly the 8 o'clock derivative went from down to up, and then the same thing with the 2 o'clock or the 1 o'clock derivative. It went down and then immediately jumped back up. So this is not going down into the 2450s or 60s. It might hit a 2480. I think today we did get 2494 for all of 10 seconds, and then as it went back to 2505. So 2507, silver 2915. So yes, I would buy the silver now, but I still wouldn't ignore the gold. But I wouldn't necessarily buy an ounce unless I don't have any or only have a few ounces. I would try to buy an ounce still at 26 and a quarter or whatever. You don't have to buy Eagles. I buy a lot of Cougarans, Maple Leafs, Philharmonics. An ounce of gold's an ounce of gold. I really don't care if it's an Eagle because I have to spend more on the Eagle than the Cougaran. So when I try to sell it, I get less, but at the end of the day, I paid less for it. So it's the safest thing. You can't print it. It's impossible to inflate. It's the best thing you can have because the dollar is printed as the euro, as the British pound. They're all printed. There's way too many, and they all have zero value. This is the problem. So you have to get out of that. So you have to determine what to get into anyway. You can't stay in the dollar. That's the biggest lesson I can give you that you must understand. You can't stay in the dollar. It's going to go out. Oh, Howard, it can't go out. Come on, what are you talking about? Yeah, that's what the Romans said, the Spanish, the Dutch, the French, the English. They all said the same thing. We've got all the Spanish had all this gold and it still went out. So, yeah, don't kid yourself. The dollars are all being run and printed out, and that's the problem. That's a big problem. So that's what you must understand. And then once you understand it, then you realize you got to get out of it. And then when you turn around and say, where can I put it? It's not another paper currency. It's only gold, silver, a Rolex, or a Mantle card. Those are your four choices. I really don't know of any other. Well, it's a real asset. You could buy A Picasso, you could buy something that's an asset that's limited. I wouldn't say a car. The house is not where you go to make money on it. The house is something different. Um, Again, things priced in dollars are going to be tough, but they'll get replaced by things by gold. We'll reprice it. So to answer that question, I know Luke was saying, "Well, won't the stock market double?" No. Stock market will go to zero, not double. The expenses will go up. So tuna will be $4 to $5 to $10, but not the stock market. The stocks won't go up; they'll go down. So I think that's about it. I am gonna gonna go have some dinner and go relax. All right, I'm gonna try my castor oil tonight, I think. All right, well, have a good night, Pat. Take care, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, so we got football starting tomorrow, first two games, and then Friday we got 4 or 5, and then Saturday's the first full college football weekend. So we're excited about that. All right, everybody. Have a good night. www.teaserking.com. You can get the football picks. There's a class that I teach in economics for private lessons. You can send your kids to it, and I can teach them how to take the money and buy gold instead of putting their money in a bank. All right. Have a nice night, everybody. Take care. Okay, Pat, we'll see you. You're welcome. Thank you for attending. Like the questions. Thank you very much. All right. Have a good day.